Hey y'all, and good morning. Look where I am at. I am back home, and I'm so glad to be home. But I had a wonderful time at my parents' house for the last 2 weeks. Thank you so much for all your love and support on the videos that I did while I was there. My parents were so cute when we were filming them. So if you haven't had a chance to go and look at them, make sure you do and leave a comment because they do read all of them and they are so sweet. But today I have my notebook ready and we are going to go around the garden and see what needs to be done. So Savannah and Joy were home taking care of everything, but of course everything always needs a mama's touch. So I am back and we're going to take some notes on what needs to be done in the garden, and we're going to get those things done over the next couple of days. All right, guys, so let's go take a look at the garden. We are going to start here with the front porch, and I think we're going to work in zones. So it looks like here our begonia needs some deadheading, but it's still super beautiful. And then also we are needing to do a little bit of deadheading on our Supertunia Vista Snowdrift. Our little geraniums here that we planted from seed are doing good, but they look like they need a little fertilizer and they need a little trimming of their leaves as well. You see they've got a little yellowness to them. And then also on this Supertunia Vista Bubblegum, it's kind of getting a little bit leggy, so I think we need to give it a little trim and a little deadheading. And then I planted these off camera, but look at these beautiful foxtail ferns. They're absolutely gorgeous. So one night, me and Savannah were out in the garden, and I had bought these off clearance from Lowe's, and it was right before I was getting ready to go on my trip, so we had to get those planted up really quick. We actually had one of these little containers in the garage, and we had the other one outside, so they almost perfectly match. They're both gray, so they're super cute, and they're doing really well, already starting to put on some new growth. So we saved them from the clearance rack at Lowe's. And then going over here, looks like our little coleus has started to bloom, which is really pretty, and the begonias are doing good. So we could probably give this a little fertilizer as well. And then I did this off camera as well. So the same night we had the foxtail ferns, I had bought these at Lowe's and no, at Home Depot, and they are ginormous. Look how beautiful these are. So I was so happy to find some that were big, and since I planted these late in the season, but look how gorgeous they are. So this is where I have the geranium, the gardenias at, and so I'll have to show you what I did with them. I did move everything around, but it does look like we need to do some little cleanup here, and it actually feels pretty moist, but I think it might need a little fertilizer. So we're going to add that onto our list. We have some bulbs that need to be cleaned up over here, and just some general tidying up where my son went fishing. And then we have another Supertunia Vista Bubblegum. We need to get this one kind of cut back a little bit, and clean off clean off this railing a little bit too. Those kind of get yucky. And then over here, we need to do some maintenance to our green stalk. It has been doing good. So the girls said they were able to get 3 tomatoes off of the green stalk, and Joy said they were delicious. So we got some more growing here, and then we have some peppers growing here. And then I think our strawberries are about finished. And then we also have our little chives over here, and I think it is, yeah, it's getting dry. So we need to work on getting that back some moisture in it. And then we do have a lot of little runners from our strawberries. So we need to tuck these runners into our little empty holes. So we will add that onto our list as well. Okay, as we come down the stairs, this is the one that I have been struggling with the aphids. So let's see. Yep. Whoop, let's see if we can get it to focus. More aphids in there. Ooh, and some ants. So we need to treat this one for the aphids. I don't know why they have just been attacking this one plant. Okay, so we'll treat that one for aphids. And then over here we need to deadhead our geranium. This is the one that we overwintered, and it is doing great. And this one here, no signs of aphids on that one, so that is good. Our little arbs are doing really well. They look very good. We do have a couple of weeds here in the steps, so we need to address that. Then we'll go over here on the left side. So we need to go ahead and deadhead our blushing bright hydrangeas, and we need to spray them for black spot because we do have some black spot going on here. This has to be sprayed like every 14 days. And so I was not here for 2 weeks. So this is what happens. But we do have some big, beautiful blooms that are about to come out. So I'm super excited about that. And then before we left, we also treated all of our Supertunias with some snail and slug bait. And so they are flushing out, but they are going to definitely need some fertilizer. Our new Nepeta here is doing really well. We cut that back and then got it planted. There was a little lizard. And then this one here is doing good. This is the one that got pulled up by accident, but it seems like it's coming back. And the blossoms are definitely coming out more since we treated it for the snails. So we didn't have budworms, but we did have snails. So I want to go ahead and get that treated again because we've had a tremendous amount of rain when I was gone. Now we need to go and work on our boxwoods a little bit and kind of get those shaped up a little bit better. And then it looks like we have some weeds over there and weeds through here. And then it also does look like we've got maybe some chlorosis, or it could be because we did have a lot of rain, but our Nepeta look like they are suffering in through here. They've got some yellowness to them. So I need to get in there and investigate that a little bit more. But our pink muley grass that we planted is doing really well. And our Limelight Hydrangeas are doing good. It's amazing to me, all the rain. And look at that one. Still standing up straight and tall. It's doing so good. And the blossoms are just humongous on these things. But yeah, you can see right in here where it kind of looks a little black. I think that's from the too much rain. But look at our beautiful little butterfly. Hello. We haven't had too many butterflies this year, but they are definitely happy that our Supertunia Vista Bubblegum has lots more flowers on it now. Okay, so this bed is going to need a lot of weeding, and we also need to add in some more mulch in here, and this over here. Whatever this weed is, it is just relentless. And then looks like our Starry Night hibiscus are doing well. They did have a little damage from our Japanese beetles, but they are doing great from that. I think the Japanese beetles are all gone now. And this one still has some buds to go on it. So we just need to kind of clean up that a little bit. And then we just have some more weeds here. So overall, I think everything is looking very beautiful in this bed. Just needs some general cleanup and some fertilizer and some trimming. All right, off to our next section. Okay, so we are over here at the right front flower bed. And so you can see over here the daylilies. We need to get those spent stalks taken off. I planted some of the sedum before I left, and it is doing really good. That was in the back. It looks like our Supertunia Vista snowdrifts are doing really well after we treated those for the snails. And then it looks like our hydrangeas here, our blushing brides, we need to treat them for black spot as well. But I did add more of the fishing wire over here to this section. You can see I put a lot of them in here because the deer were still coming in through here and getting at these daylilies. So they are looking better and rebounding. We definitely have some weeds in here. The grass is wanting to come up through here. But our alliums that we planted before we left, the Serendipity alliums, they are doing really beautiful and have some beautiful buds on them. Look at that. So pretty. So we don't need to do anything to them. Do have some weeds kind of coming up there. And then need to do a little bit of trimming on our boxwoods and our Dusty Miller. Just trim that up a little bit. and then definitely need some maintenance around here. So these are our lavender miniature roses, and as you can see, they always bloom out so beautifully when I'm gone. So we need to come in here and deadhead these. My dad gave me a lantana, so I just put it in some water really quick when we got home. So I need to get the bird bath cleaned out. And then as we go over here to this section, our hydrangeas that we've been babying along are finally getting bigger. So that is amazing. But it does look like we should treat them because they look like they've got some chlorosis. And then our serendipity alliums. Oh my goodness, guys. So I planted these last year when it was still cold, cut off the tops of them, and they have come back so beautiful this summer. They are so pretty and they're deer resistant, and I love everything about that. So this bed is actually looking pretty good. Just needs a little bit of maintenance, and I think most of the maintenance we're going to have is going to be over here in this section. Okay, so we're at our front little flower bed over here, and our Colorado spruce is doing really, really well here. Loving its new home. Look how pretty and green it is, and even putting on a little bit of new growth there. So that looks good. And then over here, our false hollies are doing really, really well. This one here is the one that has struggled with the some type of fungus or blight on it, so I need to get in there and trim that up. But it's still hanging on, and these are doing really well. They put on some new growth since we got them planted. And this is where we moved over our gardenias to. So they are doing much better over here. They get protected sun. So they're underneath the shade of these trees, but they also get the morning sun coming through this way. And they are doing really well. They've actually even put on some new growth since they've been here. They just did not like it on the shade of my porch. So I think it's much better that we use the ferns over there and we'll leave the gardenias over here. And this has just become a pretty little spot. And it makes me have so much more ideas. Like once you start to plant something, then the ideas start rolling around in your head on what you can do more. Okay, guys, so this is how the front of the house is looking. This is towards the end of July. So the grass is starting to grow in. Well, we've actually been just putting some compost. Anytime we have extra compost, we put that in these little bare spots. And I think it's really helping the grass have a way to take hold because we have so much sand here. So it's looking so pretty, guys. Let's go around to the back and we'll go and see that. Oh, before we do, let's go over here and see where they cut down the tree. This is where we have the big double pine tree cut down. You can see they got to come back and grind up the stump for us. We still have like this one root right here that they couldn't get, but hopefully it'll kind of die back. Maybe we can put some stump killer on it, but it is doing really, really well over here. Everything's kind of having to adjust because it has no more shade. So I think we did go through a little bit of shock over here. And some of our junipers are not looking the best. So I don't know if it's from too much rain, which it probably is, or if it's from getting exposed to all the sunlight all at once and all the heat. But everything is doing pretty good around here, and we're just kind of limping it along until we can get through all of this hot weather. But I am going to try to do some cutting back over here at the little dead pieces of the juniper. So we'll put this on our list to do, and we just need to do a little weed eating around this area. My daughter did cut the grass, but I think she ran out of time with the weed eating, so we need to get that done. But everything is looking good, and our water lines are doing great. All right, so now let's head to the back. Here's another one of the stumps that we had ground back. You can see the centipede is starting to grow in here. So that is good. And we kind of like ride the lawnmower across it every time we were cutting the grass to kind of just get it to go down a little bit more. But it's doing really, really well. Okay, so we're here at the backyard. And in this little section here, looks like we need to do a lot of weeding. And then our hibiscus has been blooming that we planted. So we need to get this cleaned up. But as you can see, we've had a lot of water, so we do have a lot of plants that are suffering from too much water, but the hibiscus says, bring on the water and give me some more. So it is doing great, and the sun is just actually starting to peek out, so hopefully we can get this video done and you can see okay. So let's go inside of the garden. Okay, so our shade garden is doing really well. Our chrysanthemums have bloomed out, so we need to get that cleaned up. And then we have some weeds in here. But overall, this area is looking pretty good. Savannah did move some of our lamium over here, but I don't know if it's going to be able to make it or not. It was just getting scorched with all the heat and also with all the rain. Was not a beautiful combination. So our hostas are doing good, impatiens are doing good. It does look like this impatient might have suffered a little bit because we had that big squash that was right here, and the squash never produced any fruit. So I don't know, maybe it was just a male squash, but anyway, it didn't do anything. So I got Savannah to pull that up so these could not be shrouded by that ginormous squash that was in the middle. This chrysanthemum has also finished blooming, so we need to get that deadheaded. And then we also need to treat this for the snails as well, because we do not want the snails back in here chewing on all of our beautiful plants. But everything is looking really, really pretty through here. So I'm very, very pleased. So maybe just some little bit of cleanup, and I think that'll do. Okay, so I actually forgot to put this flower bed in my last garden tour. It's not that I meant to leave it out, but I just forgot about it. So this one over here is on the left side back of our house. And as you can see, this hosta is blooming beautifully. Look how pretty that is. Nice purple. But in this flower bed, I did pop in some creeping Jenny before I left that I had in some little pots. And then this one over here is doing really well. That's my daughter's little basil that I popped in the ground here. But as you can see, the weeds have really taken over this section over here. And so we need to get this weeded, and we need to get some fertilizer on it. But all in all, it's doing really, really well. I do need to get these beds mulched. I've never mulched them. So we need to get them mulched. But they are doing really well and loving all of this rain. They have not suffered so far from the rain. So we do have a couple little tattered leaves here on this hosta that we need to get cleaned up. And then we also need to treat it for the snail and slugs to make sure we don't get any more of those on these beautiful leaves over here. Okay, so let's add to the list the pool. Because of all the rain, my daughter did treat this with shock probably last weekend, but it needs to be treated with shock again. And I need to take the water sample over to the pool store and just make sure everything is looking good as far as the salt and the calcium, the hardness and everything. So that's the only thing with the pool. When you have lots and lots of rain, you start to get a little bit green. So we need to get the pool treated as well. So we'll add that on to our to-do list. Okay guys, so here's the cottage garden. It is looking beautiful from a distance. But we actually have had some casualties in here since I've been gone because of the tremendous amounts of rain that we've been having and the way that this pool deck slopes right here towards all of these flowers. And I kind of knew that because the grass always stayed muddy in this area, but we definitely have a drainage problem going on. So this hydrangea here needs to be treated for black spot, and it's actually never had black spot on it before. And this lamb's ear looks like it has chlorosis, so it needs to be treated as well. And then the Senorita Rosalita is doing good. She has not suffered at all. I'm glad I planted her high. Right here, you can see how high she's planted up because I didn't want her to sit in standing water because I knew this was a wet spot. And then our zinnias, these are the seeds we got from Florette. And they are doing good. They're doing so beautiful. And we've taken lots of clippings from these and had beautiful arrangements. And it looks like we need to do another arrangement again. So those are doing well. The sad thing though is my Incrediballs are not doing good. So I've already lost one right here. And I planted a little transplant. So it just started getting sick like this one. So what it was doing, it would start getting the brown leaves, and then the blossoms started turning brown, and then the whole thing just started dying. So I think we've got the same thing with this one. I've been reading up a lot about root rot, and so I'm going to try to treat this, and I'll take you along for the journey on that. But it's just staying, as you can see right here, just staying so wet in this area. And maybe we planted these a little bit too low when we planted them back in the winter. So we need to work on that incredible there. But our new little grass that we planted is doing so beautiful. Look at that pretty pink on it. So good. The autumn joy sedums are doing beautiful. Look how good. We do need to go ahead and treat these because they do get chlorosis pretty easily. And we've been having a lot of rain, so that'll definitely cause that. Our little angel wing Synosio does not like all the water. So you can see the leaves here just looking all squishy. And it did this before when we had a lot of rain. And then once it dried out, it kind of dried out. So it is getting too much water here. So we may have to end up moving this plant around as well. And then as we go over here, our zinnias are doing beautiful. Look how pretty. Our little bay tree over there is doing good. Pretty that is. And then going through here, our tall guy arborvitaes are doing really well. Our ornamental oregano is starting to put on some color. That's very pretty. We have lost one of our begonias. It was getting too wet. This hydrangea here, the little lime punch, needs to be treated for the black spot. You can see that. So we're going to use the Fertilome, and that will help with that. Lantana is doing well despite all of the rain. But our lavender is not doing well. This lavender is not doing good. So we need to try to get that pulled up and put it somewhere dry. This lavender is doing good. But this lavender that I propagated from a cutting, it's completely dead. So that's what happens with root rot. So we need to get that one taken up. And look at this autumn joy sedum. Look how big the blossoms are. So pretty. Lamb's ear here needs to be treated for chlorosis. So we'll get that treated. Our phlox are not doing well either. We've lost one of those, and this one looks like it's trying to make its way out. And then over here, we had a, this was the little begonia that she lost, but you can see how squishy and wet it's staying over here in this section. And then over there, we lost the nepeta. So you can see over here, the Senorita Rosalita, see how I planted it up high, which kind of looks funny. It looks like it's like teetering on top of the earth, but it does help with keeping it from getting too soggy on those roots. Now these Incredibles over here are doing good, and this Vermillionaire has almost like quadrupled in size. So it is doing really, really well. Still no hummingbirds. And this lamb's ear, I can say it's loving its life. It's beautiful. This nepeta here, this is the Walker's Low. It's got a little stress on it, and then you can see that snapdragon behind, definitely stressed. But the Rebecchias are doing good. So pretty. And my daughter said the roses were blooming like crazy when I was gone. So this is my trio of David Austin roses. This is the Alnwick rose, and you can see how many blooms it had on it. So we need to get this deadheaded and also need to treat it for a little chlorosis. This one here, this is the Claire Austin. It always kind of looks yellow, even though I've treated it a couple of times. So maybe that's just a characteristic, but it's doing good. But we need to train it back up on our little trellis here. And then our Lady of Shallot is doing great. She is beautiful. This one has been the best performer. She has gotten really big. And then it also looks like we lost another lamium here. So lamiums are not doing good, but what is doing good is our peaches. Look at our peaches, guys. Can you believe this little baby peach tree having all these peaches on her? That is amazing. So we did finally get it treated for the Japanese beetles. I was kicking myself that I forgot this was a peach tree. But anyway, so we got that treated and she's doing really, really well. So as we go down through here, ornamental oregano's doing good here. Do have, looks like, some crickets around here. Our eucalyptus is doing good. The ornamental oregano's doing good. The zinnias have gotten really tall over there. And this one's pretty. And then our apricot drift rose is doing well, just needs to be deadheaded. And then our Rebecca is doing really well. Lots and lots of blooms on that. The Incredible's doing good here. And this Walker's Low Cap Mint is doing really well. It loves this spot. It's kind of high up in the garden too, and it's away from the patio where it doesn't get a lot of water. But then this lamb's ear needs to be treated for chlorosis. So all in all, looking pretty good. But we did have a few casualties in the garden when I was gone, so that always is sad. This is the Claire Austin, but it's bloomed out over here. But you can see it's going to be a pretty white color. Okay, then going on through here, we have our little lime punch, and they do have some black spot on them that we need to get treated, but look how pretty the blossoms are, guys. Sometimes we just have to look at the blossoms and not get discouraged over everything that dies or needs attention. Platinum Blonde Lavender is doing really well too, and it smells really good. It's just the wind blowing on it. So these Walker's Low Cap Mint, we've been treating them for chlorosis, and they are doing better. Much better. So we could probably go ahead and give them a little trim back. The pink muhly grass is doing well. Our amazing daisies need a little deadheading, but they have been doing really good. Autumn Joy Sedum's doing good. And then our pink muhly grass again. Little lime punches are doing really well. Isn't that pretty? This one doesn't have as much of the black spot on it. This is where I moved our front container to, the one that wasn't doing good on the front porch. So we have our little polka dot plant here. We've got some of the Cafe Olay, and it looks like it needs to be trimmed back. And I think our Dichondra Silver Falls did not like being transplanted, so we'll have to get that pulled up. But I think we can give that a little trim back as well. And that's our Euphorbia, and it's doing good. And then as we go through here, our little dahlias that we grew from seed, looks like they've had a little bug munching on them. So we need to get those treated. They're doing pretty well. Looks like this Walker's Low Cap Mint is needing to be treated for chlorosis. See how yellow those leaves are? And then I don't know what's going on with this Autumn Joy Sedum. She looks very different than the rest, doesn't she? I don't know if she's just now coming out or if something's going on with her. So we'll just have to see what happens with this one. Our amazing daisies are doing good. Look how pretty. We need to get those deadheaded. Get that one treated for chlorosis. And this pink muhly grass is looking a little brown. I'm not sure what's going on with this one. I'll have to look that up to see what that could be. Can they get chlorosis on grasses? Maybe they can. But this Walker's Low looks really good. No signs of chlorosis on this one. And then here's our other little, I think this is a little quick fire. And she's doing good. She's starting to get a little rosy on her. And she looks very good. So we need to treat her with some black spot. Our sweet potato vine is doing really well. And then our Arb is doing good. And then don't look over here because that is the nasty part of our garden. It still needs a lot of work. So then going over here to our fruit trees. My daughter did say that one of the blueberries had died, but it looked like it was on its way out. This blueberry is doing really, really well. Figs are doing good. Blueberry's doing good. This was the blueberry that died. That was like the lemonade one. This is the one from Lowe's. Yeah, it was called a pink lemonade. Well, it didn't make it. Not looking too hot. And then we probably do need to get our figs treated. They do have some spots on them. We just have them all bunched up here because my daughter was cutting the grass. This rose actually decided it was going to do something this year. So I guess she didn't want me to put her in another place because she had a lot of blooms when I was gone. So she's doing pretty good. So overall, I think that's doing really well over here. And of course, we have all the weeds wanting to pop up again around that tree. Can't get rid of the weeds. But overall, since we planted everything so full, it still looks really beautiful back here in the garden. Okay, so last couple of spots. This is the area that we just had cleaned out. So we're still not really sure what we're going to do with that yet. This is my daughter's little cottage garden back here. And you can see her little wildflower mix with the bachelor's buttons are really, really pretty. And we got a dragonfly here. Look at you, pretty dragonfly. And the Angelonia are doing really well. They've not suffered at all. And then her little lambsir is doing good. I think we did have one to perish over there. Her her trailing vinca is doing good. Looks like maybe the deer might have found it. And then the Coreopsis is, or what's it called? Gypsophilia. Gypsophilia is doing well back there as well. So look at those pretty Angelonia. So they're standing up with the heat, and they're standing up with the humidity, and against the deer pressure. So they are doing really well. That looks really pretty against her little white bunny barn. Okay, let's go check on our trees. My daughter planted a couple little plants back here, some watermelon, and some squash, and some cucumbers. And they're taking on pretty good here. And then we had 2 peaches off this tree, and it was a white peach tree. And my daughter ate one of them, and she said it was pretty good. So even though it looks like it's been affected by the deer so much, oh my goodness. This one didn't have any peaches this year because the deer decided they were going to tear it up. So I guess I need to put fences around everything. And then we're not going to have any apples this year, but that's okay. This is just it's going on to its 2nd year here. This one's got a pretty shape to it. Very pretty. The chickens are all doing well. And then our backyard is looking beautiful since we got everything cleared out. But the weeds start popping back really quick, so we have to take care of that. Our muscadine vines. These are all just babies, so they're not going to do anything this year. But they're still pretty to have. And it looks like our little grape. I don't know, I guess maybe something ate our grapes. I don't know what happened there. There were some grapes there, but that's okay. Something had a little snack. And here is another one of our muscadines. So we definitely need to treat this one for chlorosis because it is super yellow. Look at the veining on that. So we need to get that treated. Okay, guys, so I think I have a long list of things to do. And we have about 45 minutes until 10 o'clock. And as you can see, I was just walking around and I am just dripping. That's how the humidity affects you. So I'm sure you gardeners know that live in the South. But anyway, so I'm going to work around here, maybe find a couple areas to work in the shade this morning. And then this afternoon, when the sun is starting to go down, I'll go and do a little bit more work. And we'll just slowly get things checked off our list because remember, this is a marathon, not a sprint. And gardening needs to be enjoyable so you don't have to kill yourself over it. And if there's a couple weeds in your garden or a couple spit flowers, it'll be okay. It'll be there for you tomorrow to get out. So take your time and enjoy it. And I'm going to enjoy all of these beautiful butterflies that are coming back to my garden because I was so sad. I thought they had all left, but I think they're coming back now. So hope you guys have a great day. And I hope you have a chance to get in your gardens today. Bye, friends.